Every hour of every day, this government facility in Washington, D.C. turns blank paper into cash. To keep up with demand, these presses run 24/7, pumping out more than $500 million into the economy every single day. But that staggering pile of physical paper represents a tiny fraction of the actual money circulating in the world. The vast majority of our currency exists purely as data, and that digital number goes up by over $4 billion every day, simply typed into existence on computer screens. When you log into your bank account, the numbers you see aren't backed by wads of cash sitting in a vault. They are backed entirely by a system of debt. To understand why grocery bills are climbing and savings accounts lose value over time, we have to look at how this invisible engine actually creates money. If we look back to 17th century London, local goldsmiths held on to people's gold coins for safekeeping, issuing paper promise notes in return. The goldsmith soon noticed a loophole. Since customers rarely came to claim their physical gold, they realized they could write out loan notes for gold that didn't actually exist. Modern private banks use this exact same psychological premise. They know you aren't going to withdraw all your deposits today. So when you walk in to finance a new car, the bank does not walk down to a vault, grab physical bills, and wire them over. Instead, the bank simply types new money into your account. The moment you sign the loan agreement, brand new digital dollars are generated out of thin air. You buy the new car, the dealership pays its employees, and those employees buy groceries. This money speeds up the economy and drives productivity, but permanently inflates the total money supply. Every newly created dollar enters our economy attached to a loan. Money equals debt. This same loop operates on a much larger scale when the United States government spends more money than it collects in taxes. To cover the shortfall, the government issues a treasury bond. This is essentially a national IOU sold to corporations, foreign countries, and private banks. But sometimes the government needs to borrow trillions, and there aren't enough open market buyers. That's when the central bank steps in with quantitative easing. It generates new digital dollars from nothing to buy those bonds. This artificial liquidity floods the system, forcing interest rates down and making it cheaper for everyone to borrow and spend. There is a strict mathematical limit to this process, because almost all money is created as debt, and the loan must be paid back with interest. The total debt in the system will always be larger than the total amount of money available to pay it off. To prevent an immediate collapse under the weight of those previous loans, the system is forced into a paradox. It has to perpetually create even more debt and print even more money. We are currently watching this system test its absolute boundaries. The United States national debt now sits above $37 trillion. The interest payments required just to maintain that balance now exceed the entire budget of the U.S. military. When the central bank prints dollars to service that debt without an equivalent rise in actual economic goods, the result is systemic inflation. Every new dollar dilutes the currency pool and erodes your purchasing power. Observing this instability, major global powers are systematically reducing their reliance on the US dollar for international trade. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, along with major oil producers, are actively constructing alternative trading networks designed to bypass the petrodollar entirely. From rising grocery costs at home to summits restructuring global trade, the symptoms point in one direction. The perpetual debt loop is hitting a wall. When a system depends on generating ever-increasing debt just to pay interest on existing loans, it eventually reaches a structural breaking point. This is why economists are increasingly discussing the potential for a dollar reset, a fundamental revaluation of the currency to account for those trillions in unpaid obligations. This often unfolds as a steady erosion of value. Your bank balance remains unchanged, but the currency itself buys less each year. Over a decade, $100,000 in savings can lose a third of its real-world purchasing power, even if the numbers on your screen stay exactly the same. The alternative is a sudden overnight shift. Historically, this happens through bail-ins, where depositor funds are legally converted into bank equity to save a failing institution, or through managed devaluations, where a government simply declares the currency worth 30 to 50% less against hard assets. Digital digits and paper notes are essentially promises made by a bank or a government. During a systemic crisis, those promises can be rewritten. This is why historical hard assets, which exist outside of a bank's ledger, have remained the primary hedge against currency failure for centuries. In this environment, cash is no longer a static, risk-free store of wealth. Protecting your future now requires looking past the digital balance on a screen and understanding the debt-based engine that actually drives those numbers.